This is the Aputure 600D, 600X, and new 600C. And in this video, we're going to see which one of these lights might be best for you. This 600 series from Aputure is taking the world by storm. These things are on sets everywhere. So I thought it'd be an interesting video to not only review the C, which I have behind me, but also see how it compares to the 600X and 600D, which is actually being used right now as my key light. I'll switch the 600C behind me to a crazy color while we talk about a quick disclaimer. Aputure did send me the 600C for review, but they are not sponsoring this video. This video is, however, supported by those of you who have purchased my camera guides and LUTs. Check the link in the description to learn more, and thank you guys so much for the continued support. That's enough of that. I think we'll go back to something a little more manageable, and we're going to dive in by talking about the lineup, then price. The 600D and 600D Pro are 5600 daylight only lights. Both have the same exact light output, but the 600D is missing these features, which lowers the price by $500. Then we have the 600X, which is a bicolor light ranging from 2700 Kelvin to 6500 Kelvin. And finally, we have the brand new 600C, a full RGB WW light with several new features. The 600D costs $1390. For another $500, you can bump up to the Pro model. Throw another $100 at it and you can get the X Pro, and for $500 more, we have the 600C Pro. Output is nuts on these lights, especially the 600D, coming in at 119,000 lux at 1 meter. The 600X Pro coming in at just over 80,000 lux. And in last place, we have the 600C at just over 56,000. If we look at RGB output specifically, the 600C Pro came in at 5,640, and I compared that to my P300C and P60C, and here are those numbers. So very close to the Nova P300C, which is pretty interesting. Color and CRI are great across all of the lights. The lights were very accurate with their color temperatures, with exception to the 600X Pro. I found this particular unit was significantly warmer at all the different settings, and I had to go over 6,000 Kelvin to actually get 5,600 Kelvin, and 5,600 Kelvin was more like 5,200 Kelvin. The 600C has the best color options, including a new improved color temperature range of 2,300 Kelvin to 10,000 Kelvin, and a green magenta shift, letting you perfectly match any light source. The new UI has really handy color meters. And then we have the advanced HSI mode on the 600C, which allows you to set the same color temperature as your camera, then dial in your color. The new UI also has handy color meters to help you visualize color, which is fantastic. Each of these lights has a different chip and a different kind of front element on the front of the light, so I wanted to see how each of Aputure's modifiers worked with these, and fortunately, everything seems to work just fine across the range. The biggest difference was that the f10 lens produces a wider throw on the 600C compared to the other lights. When using barn doors, I noticed that the 600C was much softer than the D, and the X was also a little softer. So if you need a cut light, the 600D is probably your best bet. My spotlight mount worked, but the lens was designed for smaller lights and not the giant 600C front element. I would imagine Aputure will be coming out with new optics for these larger lights soon. Overall, the lights pretty much worked with all of Aputure's modifiers. The big difference is now we have an RGB WW light with a Bowens mount for the first time from Aputure, which opens the doors to really interesting lighting setups. The controllers are similar across all of the lights, with one button for the main light modes and one for effects. There's also a menu button and a back button. We have dual battery plates, DMX in and out, power in and out, and that is where the similarities end. And here is everything that is different. The C and D lights have a single knob to control everything. The X has two knobs, one for brightness and one for color temperature. The D and X knobs can be pressed in to quickly change settings in 20% increments, while the C makes you select the setting you want to change, then spin the dial, which is a little annoying. The D and X lights allow you to pair the old Aputure remotes, which is fun, and the 600C has a new preset mode, which allows you to save, recall, and easily manage light settings for later use. Finally, the 600X and 600C have more fan modes and the ability to adjust the frequency of the light. Each light has its pros and cons. The 600D is the lord of output. This thing is crazy bright. I'm shooting through a huge softbox, 2 layers of diffusion, and I think I'm at just over 8% on the light, so it's nuts. The other cool thing is you can save $500 by getting the non-pro version. Really, the only downside is there's 0 color finesse. It's just 1 color temperature. The 600X is the best all-arounder. This thing has a great color temperature range to pretty much suit any set. The only downsides is you're not going to have RGB and the output is lacking. So if you need one of those two things, the other two lights are a good choice. Then we have the 600C, which is the king of color. You can create or match any color you come across and modify it using a Bowens mount adapter, which is amazing. Unfortunately though, all of this comes at the cost of output. So if you use RGB modes a ton and want to shape that light with modifiers, this is the light for you. Otherwise, you might want to save some money and settle with the X and just have amazing bright bicolor. Or if you just want raw output, of course that 600D is nuts. Keep in mind that if you're going to use color occasionally, you could pick up one of these non-RGB lights, then go out and get something like the P60C from Amaran, which is surprisingly bright for the price of $350, as you can see from these numbers. But if you want to learn more about these lights, check out the links in the description.
Hey guys, wanted to quickly apologize for the lack of footage. I had a lot more planned for this video, but I came down with a nasty back issue that I'm still trying to sort out. So I've been out for about a week. So here editing finally, I just had to go with what I had already filmed. So thank you for understanding, and I appreciate you guys watching.
Thank you guys so much for the support, and we'll see you in the next video.